Today, when I dropped Mum off, I couldn't wait to leave. I had so much anxiety. It was early, very early, still dark. There was traffic, but nowhere near what it would be at any other time, and what it will be to drive back there to collect her. There was even somewhere to park. It was possible to park. There was hardly any spaces, but this early in the morning you could park, and I knew that technically I could go see her, and maybe I will try, because I've even got access to her disabled card, which could be used. It could be useful. But I didn't stay. I couldn't get out of there fast enough, which made it look like I don't care about her. I don't care what happens. And on one level, that's true. Whatever happens is whatever happens. She's in there to have things done. She's only there 3 or 4 days, and you know, if that's what takes place, if it all goes smoothly, but of course it is possible. She's an old woman and she's having major surgery. You know, something could happen. She may not make it out of there. It's happened before. You discover that was the last time you got to say something, the last time you saw them. Oh, I wouldn't have said that. If I'd known it was the last, I couldn't wait to get out of there. I didn't ask her what time the operation was. Nicola sent a little text on the way. Maybe good luck, hope your operation goes well. I'd spoken to her for 2 hours the day before. You know, but it looks like, and it made Mum like that. You know, she thought of her, but it takes just a few seconds and she doesn't have to come here. She doesn't have to spend time with her to make it seem like it's okay, because when you're away, it's very easy to say, thinking of you, and you go, oh. But I knew I needed the break. I knew I wanted to get back here. I knew I wanted to talk. And it's not like I don't have time, but I don't know how much time. I don't know what will happen. Who knows? Everything, all the operation is being done today. My technology is off, phone is off. I can't be contacted. So no matter what happens, my sister has to be involved. Something else has to happen first. I could have even stayed in the hospital, sat with her before the induction people came. She was there 3/4 of an hour early. She always wants to get early, and I didn't mind, because the sooner I get her there, the sooner I was going to leave. Anybody else would have sat with her, waited till she'd got into her room, carried the bag up, you know, seen the room. And then, all right, well, I'll let you go, because they have to obviously prepare her and they've got to go through that. Some people would have stayed. Different relationship. I might have stayed around to make sure, to make sure that the operation went well, because the majority of her time there was recovery rather than operation. So once the operation had gone well, then I could leave. There was no cost to the car park. Could have been there. You could be there as long as you want. Wasn't parked in a disabled bay. She didn't bring her badge anyway. But that concept, that thought, was nowhere in my mind. And yet, I could have stayed with her. I have stayed with her before. I've taken her into hospital before. Stayed there. I didn't like it. I wasn't comfortable. Too bright, too much noise going on. I don't want to be here. But I did. I stayed, and so on this time. And this was a private hospital, so it was calmer and more peaceful, less people. I just wanted to let her get on with it. And I was still aware of the possibility that I don't know how much longer she'll have. The feeling is that this will just be the operation will be successful, and she'll be able to live a better quality of life for the last part of it. We're coming up to Christmas, and my sister and nephew will be coming over, and it's of course complicated because there's not enough room, so one of them will have to sleep over at my other aunt's, whom I haven't seen since I've been back, where there's an issue. Can't exactly say what, but there is an issue. And my nephew will have to sleep on the cushions on the floor in the living room, where before I was here he would have had my bedroom. But that's now my bedroom. So even when I was here before I went to America and was in the van was outside, sometimes I still slept in it. Sometimes Mum had a visitor, so I slept in the van that night. Not a problem. Now, it's my room. I've got nowhere else to be. There's nowhere else out there I can go who will take me. Obviously, I have to, this is the last time, I believe, that I will be looked after. After this, I will make my own way again, and it will be different. But in order to be here, to do this, and to do to deal with whatever is coming, I have to be here and also not be here. I'm in the world, but I'm not of it. I'm mostly in my own head, in my own reality, experiencing these thoughts, these feelings, these ideas, considering them, writing them down, and then other times not thinking about anything, just watching a drama or a documentary or a snippet of somebody's life on YouTube. I can read if I want. I don't really read a lot, but I have done. I did over the summer. I've got many books, many wonderful books I could read. I have made a website since I've been here. I have created the first 3 chapters of a book and made it available for some people to read, and have had one very favourable response who wants more. I have more, I just haven't had the time. I don't know how to put it like that. I haven't felt like I am ready to or wanted to work on that. That there are other things that were more pressing. But I need more. I mean, clearly what this shows is that I need more. I need to have more. I need to do more. And it can't be towards Mum. By actually having more, finding something that gives me pleasure that I might want to do would make it easier for me to do some things for Mum. It'd be easier for me to be around her because I wasn't so much. But the fact is that because I'm in a lot, I don't go out in anywhere near proportional to how much I'm in. And I'm often in the dark, and I'm often with headphones in or earplugs in, holding back her world, the world, her world, the world that's just outside mine. And sometimes successfully blocking it all out. I still can't let it go. I still feel its presence on me. It's pressing on me. Can't ever let go. Putting a lock on a little latch and hook lock on my door. Only very occasionally does Mum breach my boundaries and just come in while she's talking. I just wanted to stop that from ever happening, that no one can come in unless I allow it. It's my sacred space. And it also means I'm less likely to be disturbed at a crucial moment. I can control it. If she can talk, I can deal with that from behind the door. But her coming in, it's too close. Somehow it's too much. You know, I'm the bad boy. So it's hard for me to accept good. People do good, they do good things. They have done many good things for me. Good thoughts, good actions, good deeds. Sometimes they do good, but it's not so good. They thought they were doing good, but they didn't have all the facts, they didn't have all the understanding, but it's okay. Mum is good. She's a good person. People are good. I'm a bad guy. A lot of people think of me as the bad guy. I am the bad guy. You know, if I am thought of as the bad guy, I've done things that people think is the bad guy, we keep away from him, then on some level that is also me. I was that person. I don't think of myself as the bad guy, but I know that I do bad things sometimes. I do things that I'm not supposed to do, that I shouldn't do, that indicate that I don't really feel connected to you in the way that you believe I am. If you knew that I did this like that in this way, you wouldn't like it. So you generally don't know about it. And that's part of what makes me the bad guy. I have this idea, this flow to do it. It suddenly tempts me to do it, and I can just do it because somehow I don't have the same boundaries, or they don't feel like they constrain me in that moment like they should. That to fit into society or even family, you have to abide by certain conditions, accept certain rules, certain laws, certain ideas anyway, that always are abided by, what we call the law. I am and have been many times outlaw, outside the law, living in a different reality where one play, one appearance is offered that makes it look like I'm doing something like this, when in fact I'm doing something like that, and you can't see. That is the criminal world. And you know, when you have been in it for a bit, there's sort of no way to get sort of beyond it. It's like part of me. I'm tainted by it in a sense. Doesn't matter how much I change or grow or let go of previous behavior. I always did that. That always happened, no matter what. It's all part of the colour of life. It makes for interesting storytelling and anecdotes, and it taught me a lot about myself because I needed to learn about myself because there was so much there to discover, hiding behind the masks, attempting to let me fit in to a world and not be noticed, not be picked up on, not be pointed out, drawn to the front. Come and stand here. I just wanted anything but that. Anything but having the spotlight shone on me. I would even completely dull any shine that I might have in order to be seen to be somebody that wasn't worth looking at when it looked like people were starting to look. I mistakenly believed I wanted them to. Started doing things that should have resulted in more. But that path always came to a halt. It always ended, often abruptly, protecting me from something that I only thought I wanted to experience. Now, making this thing, a video, as real as it is, it's still not the same as having to find people to stand up in front of and tell my words and deal with what comes back. So I don't have the real voice, authenticity that those people do. Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K., Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. I mean, there's many. I don't want to make a list. I'm afraid of that. I feel full of potential, which sort of dissipates in the moment where it might be revealed. Anxiety, stress, pressure, something interferes with it so that it just isn't there. I just have no access to it. And if I attempt to, what comes out only confirms that there's nothing there. Yet there is something there. It is the truth. But I'm a deceiver. I allow people to assume whatever it is that they do in a situation. Sometimes I'm even aware that they have made that assumption when it's not correct, and allowed it to stand just because it is, just because it has been, that's what's happened. It's like it had to go that way, and there's a reason for it. Even if I don't understand it right now, I will discover at some point that it was the right thing. It needed to happen, whatever it was. I can't talk all the time. And I'm limited by the size of the memory. I have to stop if I do talk too much, if I make too many. Usually just 2, maybe 3. I would push it, but I wouldn't really want to, because I couldn't rely on having enough space to express free. I have to engage left brain again and disconnect and reconnect and touch things and transfer things, which under normal circumstances is straightforward. But it's less so when I'm shifted into the right brain and I've disengaged filter and sensor, and I'm exploring, connecting, talking, which isn't real. I'm just talking to myself. I'm looking at you, but I'm not. I'm just looking at a phone. I'm looking at a dot on the phone, and I'm imagining that in this moment. Otherwise, what I'm doing is I'm effectively just talking as if someone is listening, when no one actually is. It's truly, strangely satisfying, yet completely crazy. The difference between, I watched Joker yesterday for the first time, and the difference between the madness that Joaquin Phoenix showed in his performance, the slow descent into it, and this strangeness, because that character's madness, the strangeness was very strange, was that there was also this anger, this violence, this capability of being violent, being angry. And while sometimes anger, I have become angry. Anger is a natural human emotion. How it's expressed is very important. And often expressing anger uncontrollably never ends well. It doesn't lead into good places. It's better to, in a sense, transcend or to shift that energy into something else, to make it able to express itself in a way that can never lead to anything more, can never go towards anything physical. That's what I have. But yet there is still you can feel that I'm still connected to that part of the human that could feel things like that, could do something society would not approve of, and knowing full well that it will change my life. It's sort of what happened when I did the criminal thing. My little blue white collar fraud experience, theft experience, the acquisition of company money I was not entitled to have, and know that doing so would always result in capture eventually. There was no attempt to hide or evade. It was just a question of kind of keeping the experience going long enough to have a good experience, but knowing that at the end of it lies having to deal with authority, system, the law, and accepting that, knowing that that experience would change everything. And it did. Not knowing what it would change it to, not knowing what would come from all of that, but knowing that I needed such a shake-up out of my current choices that while it looked like I was kind of embarking on a career, a life of crime, because I was introduced to people, and if I had been making money, the feeling, the drug of acquiring it illegally, getting away with it, getting respected, etc. It was a perfectly valid choice of life experience that many people have. I could have had that experience, but I knew that I had gone far enough very quickly, that I knew that I did not want to get deeper into that world, and if I did anything else, that's exactly what would happen, and I probably wouldn't have been able to get back out. It scared me, even though for most of it I felt like I was absolutely in control of the situation, because I was accepting it. I was effectively choosing it, choosing to take this chance. I didn't know what the outcome would be, so I couldn't be hoping for this or that. And as time drew closer, when it was obvious that this was going to end shortly, no matter how prepared I thought I was, it shocked the hell out of me when it actually happened. I just recognized that I'd let go of everything that I knew and had no future. Suddenly it was all gone. That was unexpected. To truly, humbly recognize that what happens next is completely out of my hands, and if I have faith that everything that happens is supposed to happen for a reason, then if I have to experience that, I have to. And that was very humbling, because again, I didn't know what that would be like, or any of it. I had never experienced anything like this before, but I had dabbled in coming close to the line a few times and enjoyed getting away with that. But actually, when you kind of cross the line into true criminal activity that must result in arrest, there's no chance of getting away with it, because there was no attempt made to do so. So sure, I could have left the building at any time. I could have done this for 6-8 months of the 12 months or so that it took place, thinking that was enough, knowing that I was going to get caught at some point. Look, 6 months, we've got plenty, let's get the fuck out of here, and then just disappear one day. Then the things come to light, but I've already moved on. Am I always looking over my shoulder though? Probably. Certainly for that kind of thing, they wouldn't just let it go, unless I'd left the country perhaps. It wasn't that serious, it was just theft and fraud, and it wasn't a huge amount of money. But it's taken very seriously in society to do things like that. And while originally there was an element of righteousness in it. It was bad treatment by a company who were just like us. We're all dodgy. We're all trying to make money and not necessarily being honest in everything that we did. They tried to take money out of the salesman's pockets just because we were going through lean times as a business. Competition was tough. It just felt wrong, and there was a small element of revenge involved at the beginning, taking it out on them, not just letting them shit on us, actually doing something about it, because it wasn't just me. I had a partner, somebody else who worked there. But I knew that experience was going to change everything, and I welcomed it, and it was amazing actually to have that experience. It spanned several years, but it was amazing overall, where I got to go, who I got to meet, what took place would only have come out of that journey. I had to go through that, have the experiences I had, such unexpected, powerful experiences that I could never have imagined, so changed me from the person I was, from what I focused on and what mattered to me and what I pursued, so that literally by the end of that year I was off to live in Israel at the time of the first Gulf War, to go and be a volunteer. Just as the war was about to start, I arrived one night before the first of the Scud missiles descended upon Tel Aviv. And yet knew that this experience was going to give me exactly what I needed. And all I had to do was let it. And for the most part, that's what happened. I did get in the way a few times, and it went wobbly for a little bit, but when I got out of the way, the experience taught me things and showed me things about who I am. And I've had to deal with coming to terms with that ever since. I've had to deal with having thoughts about who that is, and I can't believe it. No, it's not something I can think about. I've got to let thoughts go. I can't label this. I can't judge myself by stories or ideas that other people have about me or about this idea, about who I am or who I might be. I have to let all that go because it was just too corrupting. The ego just couldn't handle it. I had to get to a point where there isn't any of that, that I'm not anything, that in fact I'm less than I thought I was. That to teach this properly, I've had to be small. I've had to go right back into sort of living in one room, not really going out, not working in the world, not needing to or looking to obtain monies, being looked after, supported, struggling to, because she doesn't understand what's going on. My mother, having come full circle, started off little boy, had her as my mother, come full circle, big boy, just about to have a birthday, not wanting any presents, don't really do birthday. It's at a time when everybody else is giving presents. Don't need anything. And using my mum having to go into hospital to deal with all of this physical stuff that has been so heavy on her, so burdenful, dealing with the last part of her life, the cancer, the chemo, all of this stuff, and dealing with me for the last 6-8 months of it, so that I can talk to you, so that I can say this. so I can make these recordings and put them before you as to give you an opportunity to decide what it is, who it is you're looking at. Who is this bloke? Why is he sitting there talking? What is he trying to say? There's only so many things that I can say be very easy to promote a particular idea, suggest it, allude to it, and then what? I've got to back it up. Some idea that I have to convince you of. Well, if you say you're this, if you're who you say you are, then you should be able to do this. You should do that. You will not. And now suddenly I'm a performer. So either I've got to be able to do that, I've got to somehow find a way to appear to fit the idea of him that people have, or the idea of me that people have, based on nothing, really, based on just ideas that other people had. And any time I have felt more me than ever, whenever I feel that feeling of presence within me that leaves me in no doubt as to who I am, I can do nothing about it unless you see it. You have to see it. I can't tell you, because then you have to believe it. And why should you? But if you see something that you can't deny, I've seen that, I saw that, I felt that, I had that experience, then that was your own conclusion, that was your own natural feeling, and that's different. I'm not trying to sell anything. You need to believe this. You must believe what I'm telling you. You don't have to believe anything. It doesn't make sense to put it into words anyway. Who am I? Who are you?